Stop. Before you do anything this morning, before the coffee, before the phone, before the first meeting, I need 60 seconds of your time. Because what I'm about to show you is going to change the first 4 minutes of every morning you have for the rest of your life. Most of you watching right now are running on borrowed energy. You wake up tired, you caffeinate, you crash, you caffeinate again, and somewhere around 3 p.m. your body sends you a bill for everything it borrowed, and you pay it in fog, in irritability, and the 10 open tabs you haven't touched since Tuesday. What if I told you that the tiredness you're fighting every single day is not a caffeine deficiency? What if it's a signal? And what if there's a 4-minute protocol that speaks directly to your cells, your actual mitochondria, and gives them the exact biological command they've been waiting for? Not a supplement, not a nootropic, not something you order from the internet and forget in a drawer. Something built into your body, something that has been waiting for you to use it your entire life. I'm Dr. Silas Kincaid. Today I'm ditching coffee for a week, and you're coming with me. We take the breath so we can grow the life. That is the foundation this channel is built on, and today we test it against 11 years of caffeine dependency. Stay with me, because at minute 6, we do this together, right here on screen, and I promise you something is going to shift in your body that no cup of coffee has ever given you. Let me paint you a picture, and I want you to tell me if this is your life. It's 3:17 in the afternoon. You've already had 2 coffees, maybe 3. The meeting right after lunch was practically a seance. You were there in body, somewhere else in mind. You're staring at your screen, and nothing is snapping into focus. So you reach for the energy drink you told yourself you'd stop buying. Or you scrolled for 8 minutes, convincing yourself that counts as a rest. Or you stand up and walk to the kitchen for the 4th time today. Open the fridge, stare into it for a full 10 seconds, and close it again without taking anything. That kitchen trip isn't hunger. That's your brain desperately searching for a signal, any signal, something to pull it back online. And then comes the guilt, because you know what you should be doing. You know what your best self looks like at 3 p.m. You've seen that version of yourself on the rare mornings when everything clicks, when the sleep was right and the focus comes easy, and you move through your day like someone who's actually in charge of their own mind. You know that person exists, and the gap between who you are at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday and who you know you could be, that gap runs on caffeine and hope, and a quiet kind of grief most people never put into words. If that afternoon wall hits you this week, drop crash in the comments right now. Just a word. I want to see every single one of you, because I want you to understand something important. You are not broken, and you are not lazy. You are running the wrong fuel system. Here's what the 2026 performance data is making undeniably clear. For a growing segment of people, especially those carrying chronic low-grade stress, caffeine stopped being an energy source a long time ago. It became a stress amplifier. It triggers a cortisol cascade your adrenal system is already struggling to sustain. What you feel as awake at 9 a.m., that is your body in a mild, continuous fight-or-flight state. Not energy, stress wearing the mask of energy. Let me say that one more time, because it reframes everything. That feeling of being awake after your coffee is, for many of you, the feeling of cortisol hormones flooding your bloodstream. Your body learned to associate the two so thoroughly that it stopped being able to tell the difference. You trained yourself over months, over years, to interpret the cortisol response as alertness, and now you need the hit just to feel like yourself. Think about what that means for you as a person. The substance you're using to feel normal has changed what normal feels like. That's not energy management. That's dependency. And dependency has a ceiling. You can't keep raising the dose and expect the returns to stay the same. And here's what that does to your mitochondria, the actual power stations in your cells. Chronic cortisol suppresses ATP production, which means the very thing you're drinking caffeine to access more of, caffeine is making harder and harder to reach. The deeper you go into that cycle, the harder it becomes to feel genuinely awake without the substance, and the more of it you need to feel anything at all. I know that pattern personally. I lived it for over a decade.
This isn't an attack on coffee. I genuinely love the ritual, the warmth, the smell, the first quiet moment of the morning when the world hasn't asked anything of you yet. I'm not here to take that from you. What I am here to do is give you back the energy that ritual was always supposed to unlock and show you how to access it through a mechanism that doesn't borrow from tomorrow to pay for today. Tell me right now, how many cups or energy drinks did you have today? Drop the number in the comments. No judgment. 0, 1, 4, 7. I want to see our community baseline, because what we build here starts with honesty, not with shame. Let's go inside your body for a moment, and I promise this is going to be one of the most genuinely fascinating things you've ever learned about yourself. This isn't a textbook. This is you. Every single cell in your body contains mitochondria. Your muscle cells, your brain cells, your heart cells pack some of the highest mitochondria density of any tissue in the human body. Thousands of mitochondria inside a single cell, all running the essential process. And they have one core job. Take oxygen and glucose and convert it into ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That is your energy currency. Every thought you're having right now, every word I'm speaking, every heartbeat you'll have for the rest of today, all of it runs on ATP. Without ATP, nothing works. You don't think, you don't move, your cells don't repair, your immune system doesn't respond. ATP is not a nice to have, it is the biological ground floor of everything. Now, here's the part nobody is teaching. The trigger for optimal ATP production is not oxygen alone. It's a very specific ratio of carbon dioxide to oxygen in your bloodstream. Most of us, because of how we breathe under modern chronic stress, have chronically low CO2 levels. And, paradoxically, low CO2 prevents your red blood cells from releasing oxygen efficiently to your tissues. Read that again because it sounds backwards and it's one of the most important things you've heard this year. Low carbon dioxide, the gas we think of as the waste product, the thing we breathe out. Low CO2 actually prevents your body from using the oxygen you do have. This mechanism has a name, the Bohr Effect. Christian Bohr, a Danish physiologist, described it in 1904, and over 100 years later, most people have never heard of it. Here's how it works. Your red blood cells carry oxygen using a protein called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin grips oxygen tightly when CO2 is low. It doesn't want to let go. But when CO2 rises to its optimal level, hemoglobin releases oxygen readily, delivering it to the tissues that need it most, your brain, your muscles.
Your prefrontal cortex. When you breathe too fast, too shallow, too much, which is exactly what stress trains you to do, you blow off CO2 faster than your body produces it. Your CO2 drops. Hemoglobin tightens its grip. Oxygen stays in your blood instead of reaching your brain. And what do you do when your brain feels starved of oxygen? You reach for a stimulant, which raises your cortisol, which makes you breathe faster, which lowers your CO2 further, and the spiral tightens. That is the loop most people are living inside of right now, every single day, without knowing it has a name. The Bohr Effect is the key to understanding why, at 3 p.m., when your brain is desperate for fuel, your mitochondria can be starving, not because you don't have enough oxygen in your lungs, but because the CO2 balance that tells your cells how to use that oxygen is completely off. The 4-minute protocol we're doing today is precision designed to recalibrate that ratio. It follows a rhythmic inhale pattern that intentionally allows CO2 to build to the optimal sweet spot, and then, in the breath hold phase, delivers a surge of bioavailable oxygen at the exact moment your cells are primed to absorb it. You're essentially teaching your body to do what it already knows how to do. You're just removing the interference. The result? Your brain shifts into what neuroscientists call a high alpha wave state, 8 to 12 hertz. Alpha waves are associated with relaxed focus, the state where you are calm but completely present, sharp but not agitated, creative but not scattered. That's the same brainwave signature found in elite surgeons mid-operation, in professional athletes at the peak of performance, in experienced meditators after 20 years of practice. And in the next 4 minutes, we are going to get you there using nothing but the air in this room. Clear, focused, calm but fully activated. No jitters, no cortisol spike, no 3 p.m. debt. And here's the part I need you to stay with me for, because this is where it gets extraordinary. There's a second biological mechanism at work here, and it's the reason this protocol does something caffeine fundamentally cannot do, no matter how much of it you drink. The vagus nerve, running from your brainstem down through your neck, your chest, all the way into your abdomen, wrapping around your heart, your lungs, your digestive tract. The vagus nerve is your body's primary parasympathetic pathway. Think of it as a direct line from your brain to your organs. When it activates, your heart rate slows to a steady, powerful rhythm. Your digestion engages, your immune system upregulates. Your prefrontal cortex, the seat of rational thinking, creativity, and executive function, comes fully online. And, most importantly for what we're doing today, your stress response powers down. Not suppressed, not masked, actually powered down, at the source. Specific rhythmic breathings, particularly rhythmic diaphragmatic breathing with an extended exhale or breath hold, are the fastest, most direct, most accessible lever for triggering vagal activation. More accessible than cold water, more reliable than meditation for beginners. Free, available anywhere, requiring no equipment, no gym membership, no morning alarm 30 minutes earlier than you already wake up. You have a biological off switch sitting in your chest right now. You've had it your entire life. Most of us were just never taught how to press it. Brain fog has a specific biological address, and today we're delivering directly to it. Before we get into the session, drop in the comments what your biggest focus killer is during the workday. The post-lunch slump, morning fog before the first coffee, that 4 p.m. cognitive wall where everything feels like wading through wet concrete. Drop it below. I'm building future episodes specifically around what you're actually living, not what I assume you're struggling with. Alright, this is the moment. Clear your screen. Sit up straight. Not stiff, not rigid, just tall. Like there's a thread attached to the crown of your head and someone is gently pulling it toward the ceiling. Both feet flat on the floor if you're in a chair. Hands open on your thighs, palms facing up. Jaw loose. Let your back teeth separate slightly. Shoulders dropped away from your ears. Take one normal breath in and let it go. We're doing this together, right now, wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is for you, whatever city, whatever room. This community is breathing at this exact moment. If you're at your desk, great. If you're in your car in a parking lot watching this on your phone at 11 p.m. wondering if this will help you sleep, stay with me. We're about to find out. Before we begin, there is one mistake I need to warn you about because it will cancel the effect of everything we're about to do. Do not breathe into your chest. Put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly just below your navel. When you inhale, the belly hand should rise first. The chest follows, but only after. That movement, belly expanding outwards first as your diaphragm drops down and creates space for your lungs to fully inflate, that is diaphragmatic breathing. It is the biological on switch for parasympathetic activation. It is the direct physical trigger for vagal tone. If your chest hand rises before your belly hand, you're doing what approximately 90% of modern adults do all day long. Chest breathing. Stress breathing. It keeps your sympathetic nervous system slightly activated at all times, a low hum of fight or flight that never fully powers off, even when you're sitting still. It's exhausting, and most people have no idea they're doing it because they've been doing it for so long it feels normal. Normal doesn't mean optimal. We fix this right now. If you're having trouble getting belly breathing to click, share what worked for you in the comments. Every tip from this community helps the beginner who's sitting in their car watching this right now trying to figure it out, the person who gets it on their third try, the person who's tried breathwork before and given up. Your experience matters here. Phase 1. The activation. We're going to build rhythm together. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. A slow, full breath, belly first. Exhale through the mouth for 2 counts. Controlled, not forced. You should feel in control of this breath, commanding it. Ready? In through the nose, 1, 2, 3, 4. Out through the mouth, 1, 2. Again, in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Out, 1, 2. Don't force it. Don't grip it. Don't try to make it bigger than it wants to be. Let the rhythm find you. This should feel completely effortless, like the breath is happening to you rather than being manufactured by you. In, 1, 2, 3, 4. Out, 1, 2. Pay attention to your hands right now. The one on your belly, is it rising and falling? Good. Now check the one on your chest. Is it still or is it rising with your belly? Either way, stay with it. Don't judge it. Just notice.
And notice something else. Is there a warmth beginning in your palms, a slight tingling at the tips of your fingers, or maybe in your lips? That is not imagination.
That is vasodilation, your blood vessels opening wider, circulation increasing to your extremities as your nervous system begins to shift states. Your body is responding. It already is. In, 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 1, 2. One more activation cycle. Full breath, belly first. In, 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 1, 2. Good. Now we move. Phase 2, the retention. After your next exhale, we pause. Hold the breath out for 4 counts, not at the top of an inhale, at the bottom, after the exhale when your lungs are fully emptied. This is the moment the CO2 builds. This is the moment the Bohr effect activates. This is the signal. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now, if you feel a tingling sensation anywhere in your body, your hands, your forehead, the skin around your lips, behind your eyes, hit the like button. I want to watch that number climb in real time during the session. That sensation is your CO2 to oxygen ratio shifting. That is the Bohr effect activating in your body right now on screen. What you're feeling is not a trick. It is real biochemistry. Back in. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how the hold feels. It should feel full, not panicked, not desperate. There's a difference between the urge to breathe and the need to breathe. The urge comes early. The need comes later. We're working in that space between the two, and that space is where the chemistry happens. 2 more full cycles. Do not rush the hold. Do not cut it short. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last cycle. This one matters. Stay present. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. And release. Breathe normally. Let the breath come back on its own. Don't control it. Don't shape it. Just let your body breathe the way it wants to breathe in this moment. Close your eyes if that feels right. Just stay there. Don't move. Don't scroll. Don't reach for your phone. Don't do anything at all. What do you feel? That sensation you may be noticing right now, that warmth spraying across your scalp, that sudden sharpness behind your eyes, that quiet electricity that isn't buzzing or anxious, it just is. That is your mitochondria coming online. What just happened biologically? You elevated your CO2 just enough to activate the Bohr effect. Your red blood cells, which had been holding oxygen tightly because CO2 was too low, responded by releasing that oxygen to your tissues with dramatically greater efficiency. Your vagus nerve activated, pulling your nervous system away from sympathetic stress mode and toward parasympathetic calm. Your heart rate slowed slightly and became more coherent, meaning the variability between each beat became more rhythmic, which is one of the most reliable markers of physiological recovery. And your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for focus, decision-making, emotional regulation, and creative thinking, just received a meaningful surge of fully oxygenated blood. And your cortisol levels? They went down. Not because you took something that suppressed them, because you gave your nervous system the signal it was waiting for, the signal that says the threat is not real. You are safe. You can function now. Compare that to what your third cup of coffee gives you: a cortisol spike, a temporary dopamine hit, and a biological debt that compounds interest every hour until 3 p.m. comes around to collect. The cold plunge community talks about something close to this, that immediate snap from fog to full presence when your body hits cold water, that moment of total clarity. Your body has ancient protocols for arriving fully in the present moment. For thousands of years, humans had no caffeine. They had movement at dawn, sunlight on skin, cold air in their lungs, and the kind of deep, slow, rhythmic breathing that comes naturally when you're not living in a digital environment designed to keep you perpetually activated. These protocols still work. Your biology hasn't changed in 10,000 years, only the context has. For most of us, we outsourced those ancient signals to a being and a machine. And in doing so, we forgot that the protocol was always inside us. We forgot that our bodies are not broken. They're waiting. They're ready. They're extraordinarily well designed for this. If you felt a shift, any shift, a tingling, a warmth, a sudden clarity, a feeling of actually landing in your own body for the first time today, pause this video and comment, "I'm awake," right now. I read every single one, every one. That comment is not just for me, it's for every skeptic in this community who hasn't tried this yet and needs to see that this is real before they'll give it a chance. Your experience becomes proof for someone else's first step. And if you're a longtime breathwork practitioner watching this, drop your best beginner tip in the comments. The people sitting here trying this for the first time need your voice more than they need mine right now. You remember what it was like to feel this for the first time. Give them that. So where does this actually fit into your life? Not as a concept, not as something you save to a bookmark and revisit someday, as a real morning, as a Tuesday, as a real livable habit that doesn't require you to become a different person to sustain it. Because here's the honest truth about behavioral change. It doesn't happen through willpower. Willpower is a finite resource, and it burns down fastest when you're already depleted, which is exactly when you need it most. The protocols that actually stick are the ones that lower the biological demand for the thing you're trying to replace before you try to replace it. This is what I mean by the bridge. If you're currently drinking 3 or 4 cups a day and want to reduce without the suffering, here is the strategy I'm personally running this week. Keep your morning ritual intact. The warmth, the comfort, the quiet, the ceramic mug you've had for 6 years, the sound of the machine, all of it stays. But before you touch the coffee, run this 4-minute protocol first. What you'll find, and I genuinely want you to test this for yourself and report back, is that your craving for caffeine is noticeably lower before the first cup than it would have been without the protocol. Your body already received a wake-up signal, a real one. Your CO2 balanced, your vagus nerve fired, your mitochondria got the command. The desperate, urgent "I cannot function without this craving" is the sound of your cells screaming for a signal they're not getting. Give them the signal, and then see how loud they scream for coffee. Your first cup lands differently when you're not starting from a biological deficit. You taste it clearly, you don't need it as urgently, and slowly, over days and weeks, the gap between what you need and what you choose begins to widen. Over time, week by week, you push the coffee later. Then you drop to 2 cups, then 1. Not through white-knuckling your way through headaches, not through a dramatic declaration to your household that you're quitting caffeine cold turkey and making everyone suffer alongside you, but because your biology stops demanding what it no longer needs. The dependency loosens, not because you forced it, because you addressed the underlying signal.
Drop your goal, cut back, or quit date in the comments. I'll check back in 2 weeks and personally respond to everyone who posted a date. We're building a community accountability thread right here. I want to see your dates. I want to hold you to them, and I want to celebrate with you when you get there. Now, the optimal windows for running this protocol based on circadian rhythm alignment. First, right after waking, within 15 minutes of opening your eyes, your cortisol naturally rises as part of the cortisol awakening response, a normal, healthy process that prepares your body to meet the demands of the day. This protocol meets that curve and amplifies it cleanly, using the biology your body is already initiating without adding artificial cortisol on top of natural cortisol. It's not a replacement, it's an amplifier for what your body is already trying to do. Second, the 12:30 to 1:30 transition window. The post-lunch circadian dip is the single most predictable energy valley in the human day. It's not a character flaw, it's not laziness. It is your body's natural biological rhythm responding to food intake and a slight drop in core temperature, a process that has been documented across virtually every culture on Earth. This is where the protocol replaces the post-lunch coffee entirely. 4 minutes, then back to work with a brain that is genuinely online. Third, 30 minutes before any cognitively demanding task, before a high-stakes presentation, before a difficult conversation you've been avoiding, before a 3-hour creative work block, before anything that requires you to be fully present and fully capable. Use the protocol as a deliberate ignition sequence, not just a passive morning habit. I want to be honest with you for a moment, more honest than I usually am in these videos. 4 years ago, I was averaging 5 cups of coffee a day. I had convinced myself that was what high performance looked like, that the constant activation, the racing thoughts, the inability to sit quietly for 30 seconds without reaching for something, that was ambition, that was drive, that was the price of caring deeply about your work. My hands used to shake by 6 p.m., not dramatically, just enough that I noticed. I told myself it was the price of productivity. I thought that was just what ambition felt like. I had no idea it was a warning sign. What I didn't understand, what 4 years of diving into this research has made undeniably clear, is that I had confused chronic activation with drive. I had confused cortisol with confidence. I was not performing at a high level. I was compensating for an underlying deficit that caffeine was both causing and temporarily masking. I was borrowing from a future version of myself that had less and less to lend. The shift did not happen overnight. I'm not going to sell you a story where one breathing session changed my life and I became a different person by Thursday. That's not how biology works. What happened was slower and more durable than that. It was 3 weeks of running this protocol every morning before my first coffee, noticing that the first cup felt different, less urgent, more pleasurable. Then 2 cups instead of 3, then 1, then some mornings none, and the morning was fine. But I remember clearly the first time I sat in silence after a breathing session and felt the high alpha state settle over me. That quiet electric clarity that isn't anxious and isn't tired, it just is, present, capable, awake in a way I had forgotten was possible. I cried. I'm not embarrassed to say that, because it was the first time in years I had felt genuinely, completely present in my own body without having to purchase that feeling from a machine. And here's what the mind take creed actually means when you sit with it long enough, when it stops being words and starts being something you felt in your body. We take the breath so we can grow the life. Taking the breath is the discipline. It's choosing the 4 minutes when everything else is competing for those same 4 minutes. It's showing up at 6 a.m. when the bed is still warm and winning. It's the daily act of saying, I am worth the signal. My biology deserves better than borrowed energy. My best work requires a foundation, not a crutch. Growing the life is every single thing that compounds from that choice, the focus that arrives and stays, the relationships that receive a more present version of you, the creative output that emerges from a brain with real oxygen, real calm, real executive function running the show, the energy you finally have at 7 p.m. to be with the people who matter most to you instead of just surviving in their presence. You cannot grow what you never take time to water. That is what this channel is for. That is the thing we are building together every single week, one breath at a time. Here is what I'm asking you to do. Not tomorrow, not next Monday when motivation runs higher. Right now, in this moment before this video ends and the day picks back up and the intention evaporates the way intentions do. Commit to 7 days with this protocol. Every morning, 4 minutes before or instead of your first coffee. That's the only rule. 4 minutes, that's it. You have 436 more minutes in your waking day after that. This is 4 of them. And every single day this week, come back to the comment section of this video and log what you experienced. 1 line, 2 words, whatever you've got. We're building a living energy log for this channel. A real community-authored, community-documented record of what this protocol actually does when hundreds of people run it together in parallel over 7 days. Not a study, not a clinical trial, something more honest than that. Real people, real lives, real feedback, unfiltered. I will be in these comments every single day this week. Day 1, before you do your session tomorrow morning, drop day 1 in the comments below. Before you do it, not after, before. That's your commitment. Saying it out loud to a community makes it real in a way that a private intention never quite does. Day 3, I want to know if anything shifted, even the smallest thing. Did you drink 1 less coffee without trying? Did your afternoon feel even slightly different? Did you wake up 1 minute before your alarm and feel okay about that? 1 sentence, that's enough. Day 7, tell me whether you feel different. There's no right answer, no expected result I need you to perform, just truth, your truth, as honestly as you can put it into a comment. At the end of this week, I'm making a follow-up video built entirely from this community's results. Your words, your experience, your biology, it becomes part of this channel's documented proof. Your comment does not disappear into the algorithm. It becomes the evidence. It becomes the thing that the next person who is skeptical reads before they decide to try this for themselves. That is not something you get from passively watching content. That is what you get from being part of something that is actually building towards something. Before I let you go, one question, and I genuinely want your answer. We've covered morning energy today, but energy is one piece of a much larger architecture. The way you wake up, the way you focus, the way you recover, the way you sleep, these are all connected. They're all downstream of the same biological systems we've been talking about today. The MindTake community has been asking me to go deeper on 2 specific areas for months, and I can only do one next. Option A, sleep architecture, specifically how to engineer your sleep cycles so that you consistently wake up in the light stage of sleep before your alarm, feeling genuinely restored instead of ambushed by consciousness. Most people are waking up in the middle of deep sleep and then wondering why they can't function without coffee. There's a protocol for this too, and it involves breath. Option B, the breath cold protocol. The specific sequence of breath work before a cold shower that elite athletes and high-performance coaches are now using to create a window of peak mental clarity that normally only comes from years of dedicated meditation practice. Cold alone works. Breath alone works. The combination in the right sequence is something different entirely. Drop A or B in the comments right now. Whatever gets more votes in the next 48 hours becomes the next video. You decide what we build. That is how this channel operates. Not what I think you need, but what you actually tell me you want. Hit subscribe if this video added something real to your week, if something shifted in your body during that session, if the Bohr Effect clicked into place in a way that finally made sense of something you've been experiencing for years, if you felt even 10 seconds of genuine clarity that wasn't purchased from a machine. Share this video with one person who needs it. One person, that's all I'm asking. Not a post, not a story, not a repost. Just text it to one person and say, watch this. That is how this message travels, not through an algorithm, through you deciding it matters and sending it to someone. We take the breath so we can grow the life. Not a tagline, not a brand moment, not something I say at the end of every video because it sounds good and closes well. A daily act, a 4-minute decision that compounds slowly and invisibly into the version of yourself you've been trying to reach for longer than you probably want to admit. I'll see you in the comments, and I'll see you on day 7. Take care of the only biology you'll ever get. I'm Dr. Silas Kincaid. This is MindSake. Let's grow.